So in the first set of problems, we're going to be rewriting radicals in rational form. In other words, taking a radical such as the cubic root of x and rewriting it so that the x is raised to some exponent. Whenever we are changing a radical to an exponent, if you grab hold of the 3 in the Gressel math activity and pull it out to the right, and what you're looking for is that vertical line or that rectangle, and you release it, the exponent is going to change to a fraction. So the denominator of the fraction comes from the number on the outside of the radical, and the exponent on the x is a 1. So when I pull it out here to the right, it's going to become 1/3. If you match the answer, it turns green. This also gives you a green check mark. So in this problem here, similar steps. We're going to grab the 7, pull it out here out to the right. You look at that vertical line. It's going to change it to an exponent of 1/7. So the radical has a value as an exponent is 1/7. Again, this time it didn't combine the 2 and the 7. So it's one of the reasons why I've written the activity this way. I want you to understand that anytime I replace the radical sign, that the exponent that's going to be replaced is going to be some kind of fraction. When we did this back during the first 9 weeks, we have something on the inside and the outside with parentheses. That means we're going to multiply. So if I pull the 1/7 inside next to the 2, it's going to multiply it by 2. And so 2 times the 7th is 2/7. So the exponent here is, for the 7th root of y squared, becomes y to the 2/7 exponent. If you go ahead and do the next 3 problems, and then when you're ready to continue, turn the video back on. So again, if I pull this out to the right, we're going to get the radical is going to get replaced with the exponent of 1/6. I multiply it to the 5, and we get a final answer of 5/6 for the exponent. Here we have multiple values underneath the radical. So again, if I pull the 4 out to the right, I'm going to get 1/4. So when I multiply by 1/4, it's not only going to multiply the 5 by the 1/4, but also the 3, and then the exponent on the 16 was 1, since there wasn't an exponent there. So it's going to be just simply 1 times a 4th or a 4th. So when I multiply the 3 times a 4th, I get 3/4. So I multiply the 5 times a 4th, I get 5/4. And if you notice, there's no green here. And the reason why is because the 16 to the 1/4 actually can be simplified. If I click on the exponent and turns it into a decimal number, and then if I click on the base, it will actually turn it into the final answer. So it's 2 to the w to the 3/4, z to the 5/4. So if you weren't able to get this one completed, the next problem is real similar. And again, go ahead and look at this one here. If you're not able to turn into a fraction, if you left click here, the number actually in the radical here is 2. So we don't have to put in, for square roots, we don't have to put the number there. So if I left click and hold the button down, the 2 is there. If I pull it out to the right, make sure that vertical line, it's going to give me an exponent of 1/2. So again, if you didn't get this one done, go ahead and complete this one, and then turn the video back on when you're ready to continue. So I pull the exponent out front, which should be 1/2, and I multiply all the exponents by 1/2. It's going to be 1/2 times 1, so it's 1/2. 8 times 1/2, 7 times 1/2, and 6 times 1/2. So I multiply here, I'm going to get 4. I multiply here, I get 7/2, and here when I multiply, I'll get 3. So I recommend leaving the exponents as fractions unless they can be simplified to a whole number or an integer in some cases. This case here, the 15 to the 1/2 does not simplify. The square root of 15 does not give us a exact answer. 16 to the 1/2 would have been 4, but 15 does not work. Starting here, we're going to solve equations. So what I'd like you to do before we solve the equations is, if you take a look at some of the problems we're going to be looking at here, in all the problems we're going to be changing the radicals into exponents that are fractions by getting rid of the radical. So if you go ahead and change this, the cubic root of y to the fourth into a rational exponent, and then turn the video back on. So if I pull the 3 out in front, like we were doing, I get an exponent of 1/3. I multiply it to the 4, I get a final answer of 4/3. When we did this in the previous class, or previous semester, we want to get this exponent to be a 1. So if you left click on the equal sign, it eventually will give you a window where it has E. E stands for the equation. And so what I'd like you to do is think about what exponent do I need to multiply the 4/3 by to turn the y to the 4/3 and the y to the first power. And you're going to click on the exponent key here and enter in the number that you need. And when you click done, it will actually put that exponent on both sides of the equation. When you're finished, turn the video back on. So hopefully you chose 3/4. When you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, you're going to end up getting 12 in the numerator, 12 in the denominator, and it gives me an exponent of 1. So the final answer is 124 to the 3/4. Now I want the actual decimal number for that. We would click on the exponent, double click, turn it into decimal number, and then click on the base 124, it will actually do the problem for us. So the answer here is approximately 37.159. All right, so in the next problem here, we're going to be doing another problem very similar to it. Anytime you have a radical and there's something outside the radical, we're going to, like solving equations, we're going to try to get the radical by itself. So the first step here would be to get rid of this 12. So what kind of problem would that be? So I'd like you to do that step and simplify the right side of the equation. And then think about the steps we went through to figure out the value of x by changing this radical into a rational exponent, so a fractional exponent, and then solve the equation from there. When you think you figured it out and completed it, turn the video back on. Again, if you make a mistake, you always can click on the undo button and back up to the beginning and start all over again. So go ahead and investigate it for a while and then turn the video back on when you're ready to continue. So hopefully you decided that since this is a multiplication problem, that what I want to do is I want to divide both sides by 12, and that gives me an answer of 4. If I pull the 3 out in front, then the exponent becomes 2/3. I need the exponent here to be a 1, so if I click on the equal sign and hold it for a while, and what I want to do is I want to change the exponent of x to 2/3 to a 1. So if I click on the exponent key here, I need to finish the rest off. So if you weren't sure how to get to this point, go ahead and repeat those steps and then finish off the equation. Turn the video back on when you're ready to continue. So since the exponent is 2/3, we're going to multiply both sides by 3/2. By doing that, what we're going to end up with is 6 in the numerator, or 6 in the numerator, 6 in the denominator, which gives me an exponent of 1. And again, if for the 3/2 is the correct answer. If I change this by double clicking, if I change the exponent of 3/2 into a decimal number and click on the base, it will actually give me the answer. And the actual answer is 8. So this one, unlike the previous one, is an exact answer. The previous one was an approximation. All right, so go ahead and take a look at number 8. And again, work through the steps, see what you can come up with. You always have the undo key available to you here at the top, and when you're ready to take a look at the problem, especially if you're struggling, turn the video back on. This time everything is underneath the radical, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pull the 5 out to the right here, which becomes 1/5. And we're going to multiply the exponents of 3 and 1/5 to get 3/5. Because the y plus 6 is in parentheses, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to turn this exponent into a 1. So if you left click on the equal sign, we'll get the e for equation, and we want to turn that into an exponent which has a value of 1. So if you weren't able to get to this point, go ahead and go back and complete those steps to get to where we were at, and then finish off the equation. Turn the video back on when you're ready to continue. So 3/5, I would need to multiply by its reciprocal, which is 5/3. So I'm doing 5/3 of both sides. When I multiply the two exponents together, I'm going to get 15 over 15, which is 1. And then if I click on the exponent, double click on the exponent, turn it into a decimal number, and then click on the base, the answer is approximately 8,017. Now we still have this plus 6, so if I would click on the parenthesis, the exponent of 1 will go away because something to the first power is going to be whatever's in the parenthesis. And then the final step here is that we need to get the y by itself, so we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. And the final answer here is approximately 8,011.7478. All right, same steps as before. See if you can complete the problem. Think about order of operations and what steps should be done first, and think about the previous problems, how we handled the radical, and then turn the video back on if you're stuck. See the steps. And again, you can always turn the video off at any point and then continue working on the problem on your own. If you get the answer figured out and you want to see whether your order and the order that I've chosen is slightly different, go ahead and turn the video back on and watch this equation being completed. So under the subtraction problem, we're going to add 100 or add 45 to both sides, which gives us 195. We need to pull this 4 out in front to create an exponent of 1/4. So I'm going to take 7 times a fourth. I'm going to end up with a exponent of 7/4. So I click on the e, the equal sign again, and e. I'm going to multiply both sides by the exponent of 4/7. And the reason why is because, again, I want to get a final exponent on the x to be a 1. So it's going to give me 28 over 28, which is 1. So this is the exact answer. Again, if I turn this into, double click and turn this into a decimal number and then click on the base, it will give me the approximate answer. This is basically the answer you would get if you stuck it into your calculator. And then this is our last problem. So I decided in the last problem I would combine some of the steps from 6 through 9. So we had a multiplication problem. We had, I think it may have been a subtraction problem to begin with on the outside. We have a parenthesis with an exponent here, so it mirrors some of the previous problems. There's that 12. Here is the parenthesis. Here's the value that's on the outside. So this kind of does a combination of all 3 pieces. So see if you can come up with the final answer. Again, turn the video on, check your answer at any time, and then continue working on it. If you're finished, turn the video and see if we got the same answer. So first step is going to subtract 12 from both sides. And then we're going to divide both sides by 8. Move the 3 out in front here so we get an exponent of 1/3. So we're going to multiply 2 times the third, so the exponent is 2/3. If I click on the equal sign, I'm going to multiply by an exponent of 3/2. And that will give me an exponent of 1. I turn this into, double click, turn this into a decimal number, and then click on the base. I get the answer 0.2, and then if I add 2 to both sides, I'll get the final answer. Hopefully it's the answer you got as well.